of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, 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 not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
All right, what's up, Poddamn Americans, Poddamn Marinos, Podheads, Pod Friends, Americanos. This is welcome to Poddamn America. Our show today is brought to you by Blue Apron, the home subscription cooking service. Blue Apron for only $9.99 a month. You can get. We've got great stuff coming to you. We've got pan-seared arugula, oil tossed asparagus bites rolled in panko crusted honey. We've got deep fried home shallot beet fries with an aioli glaze. They're gonna give them right to you. You're gonna put them together right in your home kitchen and put them together and cook them with your friends and your family and your loved ones, your girlfriend, while you're listening to the podcast. You sit there right in the kitchen and just chop them up and listen. It's great for you, you know. We got so much. We're gonna give you so much rock and roll fucking food. We got craisins. We got craisins. We're gonna roll them together with some Takis and some Pocky sticks and serve them to you in a hollowed out beehive. There's one box that's it's got small chopped minced flakes of government cheese served in a mason jar, topped with Valerian steel cut oatmeal. Jon Snow cut them up with his sword. It's great. Yogurt snacks dipped in cake pops, popsicle sticks coming right out of the top of it. There's going to be a hollowed out tree that's full of candy corn and just an old cans of Four Loko. You can't get that anymore, can you? You can with Blue Apron. One of the boxes is just full of cum. There's a cactus that's dressed up like a little cowboy, and he's just full of cigarettes and lottery tickets. Lottery tickets you can use to buy to get more Blue Apron. Blue Apron. One of the boxes, it's just full of ghosts and a postal worker's severed head. Pickles brined in a longshoreman's urine. Cotton candy wrapped in barbed wire, tossed in butter, and a jack-o'-lantern that screams at you while you're eating it. Blue Apron. It's not Blue Apron, actually. It's the future. Welcome to Poddamn America. Sponsored by Trump Boxes, the new subscription service food stamps from the president. Hey guys. We got a sponsor.
I like how you turned into Rick Sanchez there. Yeah, there's cum and everything, Morty. It's there.
Yeah, I can't do impressions without just like veering all over the place like a car with shitty tires. You know?
Yeah, I can do a good impression for about 5 seconds.
I can do an impression, but it always turns into Rick.
That didn't turn into Rick at
Natural
all.
Pickle Rick.
Yeah.
I can do, yeah.
We got Pickle Ricks. You fucking cucks.
Put him in a box. It's a whole box of Pickle Ricks.
Yeah.
I can do a great Don Draper from Mad Men, but only saying one thing.
Do it.
What do you want to hear?
Oh, God.
You're almost like
That's only he says that in every episode. What do you want to hear?
Yeah, he does kind of
You sound like the Zodiac Killer.
Yeah, he sounds like he's,
Wow.
he's calling
He
someone.
does.
Approach
the picnic basket.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
He sounds like Philip Seymour Hoffman in Happiness when he's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to come. Say that.
We're gonna come.
He's back from the dead.
You're very good at these.
Yeah. Okay, hello. Welcome to the show. I've got with me Raghav Mehta,
Yo.
Anders Lee,
Anders Lee here.
Alex Ptak.
I'm not a guest. I'm just here sometimes.
You're a free-floating...
Those are going to be your last words. I'm not a guest. I'm just here sometimes.
I'm not a guest.
Yeah. Eminem.
Is that an Eminem song?
Brittany.
Yeah. Well,
I knew what you were doing,
that's
man.
what you're doing.
I'm
I
not
was
a gr-
thinking
yeah.
not
yet a
afraid.
woman.
Oh, I'm not.
God,
yet a
I'm
woman.
sorry, guys. I'm just always thinking about Eminem. I think about Eminem too much, honestly.
That's so Midwestern of you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Detroit, what's up? Hi.
Shout out.
I crawled in through the window. That's why you call me window gassed. I feel like that doesn't really track.
Yes.
Hello, welcome to the show. First order of business in this terrible week where everything's terrible is everyone's talking about Trump's new plan for reforming SNAP benefits, which colloquially is known as food stamps. So basically, the story of the day is that Trump has got this idea where he's going to turn food stamps into more like a Blue Apron service, where if you get a box and it's got like some shitty food in it, and this is somehow going to streamline the system or whatever.
Why don't we disrupt food stamps?
Yeah.
It's been too long. First of all, you gotta put them in the mail. How do these things even work?
No, you get a card.
You gotta get a carrier
They're
pigeon to
fucking
get one of these.
great. You get
Why isn't it not an app?
you get a food stamp credit card, and it's only good for buying food at a grocery store, which most people use to buy food at a grocery store. And there's all these weird laws because of weird Southern Republican bullshit. I mean, a lot of Republicans run on the boogeyman of these people are just there's a welfare state and they're leeching off the system.
The welfare queens.
Yeah, and
they're playing
using
off
them.
the fear of monarchy.
A friend of mine called them. So I'm from part of Texas where there's a lot of black people, and so everyone the scary story they tell you is, they're using the food stamps to just buy blunts or whatever. But I have friends. But I have friends that are from the fucking South where they have the same bullshit. They believe the same bullshit. And a friend of mine called him a Mountain Dew card the other day. He's like, yeah, these people don't work. They just use it as a Mountain Dew card because you can technically buy Mountain Dew with a food stamp EBT
It has
card.
all
or
the
whatever.
vitamins you need.
It's fine. It's not like we are consuming great food, everyone else is because of how hard we work or
At
whatever.
this moment, I am enjoying a Rataburger.
Yeah, nice. I'm enjoying a Budweiser.
Sponsor of the show, Budweiser.
Yeah.
Pod damn, a delicious beer.
Well, the thing that was interesting is vegetables and fruits are not included in this new app that they're doing, and that's another thing they always say. I mean, because this is clearly they wouldn't be doing it if it weren't for agribusinesses who are going to benefit from this. But something they always say, it's like when people bring up obesity, it's like, well, that's just the market. People want to eat shitty food, and so that's why they buy it, is because they want it, when it's economically it makes no sense if you're living on $8 an hour to buy vegetables.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. There's food deserts and things like that, and there's also the fact that okay, so in Trump's boxes, they're gonna have they're not gonna have fresh vegetables probably because it's not viable to mail fresh vegetables. Just a second. But there's this weird myth of people running wild with these cards, which you can't go that wild with a card that's for food. The thing that does happen sometimes, and I've seen it firsthand, is in Austin where I'm from, people would stand outside of the HEB, which is a local grocery store, and just have a card and go hey, if you you buy me some beer, I'll just let you use this or whatever. And that's a little bit of a grift, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a tiny drop in the bucket in terms of all the money that goes around the economy.
Yeah, I don't fucking care.
Who gives a shit? Beer is also technically food. If you're,
Why are you so telescoping in on this one dude getting drunk?
Well, because it's the boogeyman. It's Trump's boogeyman. Is that that there's this finite amount of money in the economy, and that
it
this
all
is
has
the
to go
one
to my
thing
gold
that's throwing it off.
building.
Yeah. The guy with the fucking gold building is all the money is going away because of these fucking
Anytime
poor
you
families.
finish the sentence in these horror stories, they don't really make sense or come across. It's always oh no, we can't have a budget for food stamps or else we won't have enough money to build the stealth warplanes I wasn't supposed to tell we can't have them.
Yeah, and then if they eat fancy food, like good food, then that's also a problem. But if they eat shitty food, then it's
right.
How
They
do you
want
guys
you to
feel about-
only eat like rice and beans, and like
Yeah.
also like you could probably sell a Trump food box for cigarettes and beer too.
I'm doing it now.
Like there's no way to get around it, and
I'm
also
making
who
my
gives
own.
a
is it
shit?
gonna say Trump on it?
No, I don't know. Probably not because okay. So this is my main kind of point about this is that like everyone is kind of a buzz online about these Trump like food stamp boxes and how like oh my god this is so insulting to poor people and yada yada yada.
Where's the
And, like,
positivity?
I kind of think that if a Democrat had come up with this concept,
Oh, yeah.
everyone would have just loved it
Big
because
time.
it would have been like, we're gonna turn food stamps into a revolutionized app, and
It
like
sounds
yeah.
like a fucking Silicon Valley guy idea.
it's the exact same thing. And so what no one is really seeing is the actual story here because like we had Macron run in France and his whole thing was I'm gonna run France like a startup, and that was sold as a liberal idea, like this is like the wave of the future and it's better than these old right-wing people or whatever, but it is in essence right wing, and it all goes lockstep and file with like the thing that like it's not Trump. Like Republicans have been doing this for decades, since like Reagan at least, which is privatizing social programs, right? Or public programs in general. So the real reason this is a bad story is because what he's going to do with these food stamp boxes is they're not going to be run by the government. They're going to be run by they're going to be contracted out to a few small companies that are probably going to benefit a bunch of fucked up people, yada yada yada.
Raytheon brand lunchbox.
That's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a fucking Monsanto Wraith. It's gonna be like a gun that shoots cereal in your face or whatever.
We put America's top scientists on top of sandwich duty.
Oops, all berry bullets.
Oops, all
Oops, all
shrapnel.
bullets.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Clinton did too with welfare back in the like welfare to work programs that
Yeah.
would spread in the 90s, where they would like take companies and just say like you have to employ this person who's like disabled and has like 5 kids and needs to be home right now. Like that, if Hillary won, they would probably put Bill in charge of this shit. He'd be like, I know you like the Nestle Quick. We're going straight to your door.
Are you doing Don
Facebook.
Draper again?
Remember when Rahm
I
Emanuel
did not have
told
sex.
the Chicago kids that they couldn't get their diplomas unless they had plans for after high school?
Uh-huh.
Did you remember? Did you
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah, we talked about it on the cast.
I'm just wondering what I would have fucking come up with. I'm
No
like,
one
Yeah.
has plans
I'm
for
gonna
after high
sell
school.
drugs. Fuck you.
That's the plan.
You probably haven't heard this from the other kids, but I have this mixtape I've been working on, and I think it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
What would Chance the Rapper had said to him?
I would have
Probably
said.
something like. I'm sorry.
I would have said I would have been a Jeffrey Epstein dancer. I'm gonna like dance at Jeff Epstein's island. That's
Yeah,
what
and
my
he'd be
plan
like, "Oh, those are great benefits."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know those people. They're great friends.
The
of mine.
fucked up thing about that is that being like a poor kid in Chicago, telling your high school teacher, that you're gonna sell drugs is probably actually a better plan.
Yes.
Than what they want you to say, which is, I want to go to like community college and
1000%.
things in a box, and then they go into another box, and then I'm fucking dead or whatever.
I would probably have been in better shape if I spent 2 or 3 years after high school like selling weed and just hanging out than fucking trying to get into college. To go to a college I didn't even want to be at.
It's the
studying
current American dream. It's
Right.
unregulated capitalism
Yeah.
that you do yourself by the sweat of your own brow.
Yeah.
That then makes you into a small business owner.
There are not to name any names of businesses, but there are places around Brooklyn who like the people who own them sold weed for a living for like 10 years, and then they just bought a fucking restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit rules.
Looking at you,
We don't know any of
Alamo
those people.
Draft
Yeah.
House.
They don't.
Yeah, the Alamo Draft House, famously from Brooklyn, New York.
Brooklyn, New York.
Katz's Deli.
Yeah.
What businesses were you? I'm genuinely curious about.
Well,
Well, I don't want to talk out of school here.
Brooklyn Roasting Company.
Yeah.
yeah. What are those
Pot City.
I always
They
got
sell
hired by
pots
them.
and pans.
those chocolate brothers that made that fake chocolate a few years ago?
Huh?
You guys remember that shit? There's,
Why would
okay.
anyone
Fake
have-
chocolate or
chocolate?
I
vape
haven't
chocolate?
been reading my chocolate
All right.
news.
All right.
That show got canceled.
I think I might have been living in New York for a
being
little bit longer than
problematic.
you guys, but just to catch anyone up that doesn't know about us, Mast Brothers, that was the name of the company. So I live in this part of Brooklyn that's just a bunch of old factory buildings that are hollowed out and turned into like lofts and bullshit like that.
Uh-huh.
And most of them are, since I deliver pizzas, I've discovered fashion shoots just go on in them and stuff like that. Like businesses that just shouldn't exist that have way too much money behind them. But one of them, I fucking drunkenly walked into this factory one day and there was just a chocolate factory. And it was just like fucking poor like hipster guys and with like aprons. And they were like, would you like to buy a $9 chocolate milk? And I was like, no. Like, get the fuck out. God, you should get out of here. It was, it was this dumb thing. There's no... It's not in a community. There's like no foot traffic. It makes no sense why these companies exist, right? But the Mast Brothers were very successful until someone figured out that they weren't actually making their own chocolate. They were just melting down Hershey's bars and then repackaging them with these like cute little like hip Brooklyn drawings on the things.
Scandalous.
Yeah, it was all over Twitter like a few years ago.
This
That
would
Just says Vampire Weekend.
Mark my words. Within the next year, there will be like a startup prison outside, like off the Morgan L. There will be a loft space turned
Prison
into
app?
a profit. Yes, a for-profit
Are
prison.
you conducting a citizen's arrest?
You can throw your little brother in.
Yeah,
Your little brother in that to startup prison.
Get rid of the middleman.
Do you not like your ex-girlfriend? She's in prison now.
Why
there's no rules in this prison.
Why is it a little boy? Their spokesman.
It's like a cute prison. It's really fun. Why didn't anyone play with me in my
It's
prison?
Mr. Poopy Butthole. That's who it is.
It's because it's a
That doesn't
chocolate
sound like
factory.
Mr. Poopy
Yeah,
Butthole.
Okay.
Back off.
All right. Sorry.
Well, it's just a little kid because it's a chocolate factory.
Yeah.
And he won a golden
It makes
ticket.
sense. It's like really, it's a smart joke.
Gourmet Chuck E. Cheese.
He discovers that they're melting down Hershey's bars, and then the chocolate factory guy's like, "You broke the rules!" Sings the whole song and shit.
I have to kill you in some inventive way. That movie's fucked up.
Yeah, we should do. Someone has to have done like a Marxist
Reading of
Willy
Willy
Wonka.
Wonka and the Chocolate Factory? I don't think anyone has.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. I think with the Oompa Loompas. Come on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why it's a good idea.
Oh,
They're oppressed.
you didn't hear that from us.
Let's get David Harvey on to do a close reading of Charlie.
Let's get Steve Harvey on.
Yeah.
You can see the Oompa Loompas and their friends and the next thing.
Got candies, chocolate, and all the rest of it.
All the rest of it.
All the rest of it.
That's the word I was
his-
looking for.
I think Steve Harvey should run for president.
Oh God, I would. No, they got one more.
We need Jesus.
Yeah.
I saw somebody, a bunch of people were tweeting this thing today where Steve Bannon was like, okay, so The Rock endorsed
Oh.
Oprah during Oprah's thing or whatever, and then Steve
Oprah's
Bannon was
I
like,
would not like to be president speech.
yeah. And then the Steve Bannon came out and was like, The Rock, your career is over. You've really bungled it this time or whatever. And so all these like liberal
Heel promo.
people are like, wow, damn, can you imagine being as pathetic as Steve Bannon right here? But the thing is, I think no one's talking about is the reason he's mad is because The Rock is a Republican. That's why he's mad. It's his guy.
Yeah.
But
I
we
hope
just
he's
like
not the Democratic nominee for some reason. I feel like it's gonna happen.
Steve Bannon, he probably will be.
yeah.
Well,
Resistance hero, Steve Bannon.
he was like the Schwarzenegger, because if you like in the 80s, like Schwarzenegger would go to the White House. He went to the first Bush White House, and I like this guy. He's a Republican, and eventually became governor. And the same thing was happening with The Rock in the 2000s. And now he's...
Your Bush sounded like Jack Lemmon.
I thought that was Steve Bannon. I thought that was you being Steve Bannon.
Read my lips. They're really crusty. That's what Steve Bannon would say.
Every one of your impressions sounds like a perfect impression of someone else.
Yeah.
I love it.
Andrews is like a house of mirrors. You just want to get lost.
It's about the essence of the person in each of them.
Yeah. Anyway, so these food stamp boxes are maybe going to become a thing or whatever, and I think it's kind of funny because like it's bad, but it's bad for the people don't understand the actual reason why it's bad. Like we're just kind of shifting shit in around a table that's all under the same politics. If we're going, it's bad because Trump did it. It would be good if a Democrat did it. Maybe the whole reason food stamps are on a debit card is because debit card technology came out and they went, oh, we don't have to put these on stamps anymore. We can put them on a fucking card, And so now for it to be a thing where it comes in a box to your apartment isn't that bad. It's fucked up and there's problems with it because what they're saying about these boxes is oh yeah, it only has basic, pasta and peanut butter
It's
and
a
shit.
physical box. That's the problem with it. There's a million things that could fucking go wrong.
Yeah. I mean, it's fucking bad.
Here's what we need. Movie Pass for Poverty. That would be massively popular. It's not making money, but it's okay because it's socialism.
I mean,
Yeah.
the fact that it's going to be delivered by what, the UPS or something? Like if a Democrat was in there, they would get a Jeff Bezos Amazon drone to shoot it into your house and possibly
yeah, dude,
maim
I don't even
someone.
care if I don't eat after that. Fucking airplane shoots food at you every month.
Well, I guess and I don't know exactly what his plan spelled out because this is kind of a thing that someone found in his budget proposal. That's you sift through the whole thing and find the weirdest thing. That's the story of the day or whatever. But my suspicion
Box
is
food.
it's going to be mega privatized and it's going to be one of those things where they're just further trying to shift the economy into the hands of businesses because on some level, some of these people believe that is eventually this panacea that cures all society. That's clearly not happening. But and then on the other hand, there are other people like Trump that probably just don't care or whatever. He's crazy. But I don't know. The thing with the boxes is how do I fucking put this into words?
Put it in a box.
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
I don't know.
I watched that clip recently. It's really disappointing. It's not as exciting as all the impressions of it are.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then Kevin Spacey shows up, who has
Yeah.
no negative connotations attached to him.
Oh man.
That's kind of the connotations only help him in that role. I mean,
It's it's
Yeah, I killed a woman, a grown woman.
in the movie and real life, he's kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying with the box thing is the concept of privatizing it is way more of a grim specter.
What if Kraft made all of your food
Yeah.
just for a month, and it was just Kraft macaroni and steak?
It wouldn't
what
honestly,
if Kraft made your health insurance?
I've been on food stamps before and it's not a system that doesn't need reforming. There is something to it, but it's we shouldn't be wasting time thinking about it because it's such a small percentage of the economy and it really doesn't matter. But it is kind of ironic, and this is what pathologizes people in the South, I think, a lot, or in just communities where there's wealth disparity, is when you see people that are on food stamps. It's the same thing that happened to Obamacare. You see people get these benefits, and then suddenly they're eating better than you are, and you're broke, but just above the level of poverty.
Same with health insurance.
Yeah, it's all the same thing all around. And so that's how people get really fucking bent and butthurt and become full Republicans, because someone offers them an answer to that and tells them, we also see this, which is not actually a problem in the grand scheme of things if you understand the whole economy and military and all this, how the way taxes work or whatever. But it's a really, really easy way to get people freaked out about something, right?
It's the old don't look up situation.
That's why I think the only answer is to go fucking full leftist and try to push for universal reforms, because if we had a society where you could just eat and you were just guaranteed a basis of living, we wouldn't have this weird shit where your neighbor is suddenly eating steaks and you're like, but I'm not as poor as them. And, oh my God. And you're
they have a Mountain Dew card.
And
I have to work from a Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew so much.
Everyone just loves Mountain Dew.
Baja Blast, Code Red,
Those are my children. Literally, those are the names of my children.
Code Red, get out of the cookie jar. I know we filled the cookie jar with Mountain Dew, and you can't drink it all. But it's for the whole family.
Don't disrespect the Livewire Shrine and Livewire himself.
What is the purple one called?
Blaha Blast.
No.
Baja Blast is the blue one.
It's light blue.
Grape.
It's like
Baja
midnight.
Blast you can only get at Taco Bell.
It's like
I'm
midnight
gonna
loving
find
or
out
something.
what
Is
it
that true?
I think so. It's almost everyone will get it.
Well, I mean, under communism, you would get it anywhere.
right.
You
That's
know?
the point.
That's
You
Well, I
wouldn't
mean, does it get
resent your
your
neighbors,
Baja
yeah.
Blast?
Forget Baja Blast.
and then you would both unite
Be blasted.
against the actual enemy, which is the person bringing. Because
Yeah.
I've had food stamps
Blast the
before.
capitalist class.
I had when I was first started comedy, I had a friend.
Pitch Black. That's
we,
one.
we were all like mega fucking broke, and a friend of mine got food stamps, and then like he threw a barbecue, and like a lot of people got mad about it because we were like, wow, like that seems excessive. And when I got on food stamps at one point, and they gave me an EBT card that was loaded with like $400 a month for groceries, and I ate better than I've ever eaten in my life because. Before that, I was used to being poor, which is you spend like $40 on groceries, and it could get you through the month if you really need to, And so it really was kind of funny to me because it made me realize like a lot of the politicians that are writing these laws are furious because they think that poor people. The reason that they're so mad about poor people getting free money is because they think that it costs $400 to buy groceries for one person. So they're like, "That's so much money." And it's like, no, you could have given me $50 and I'd been fucking fine.
Right. Well, I think the missing thing here is, and this is like an incompatible point with capitalism, is that there's so much food that the society produces that is just not eaten. Like I remember in high school, me and my friends would drive around to Krispy Kreme, and they were just like dumpsters of donuts that were just thrown out. Like there's so much surplus that we could give to people without really having to fuck with things.
There's a whole Seinfeld B plot about this.
Yeah.
And
There's a barbecue restaurant in San Antonio when I was living there called Bill Miller, and somebody I know worked there, and they were like, "Here's what you do: you go through the drive-thru Friday night at exactly 9:30 p.m. You go up to the thing because that's right when they're closing, and then they go, hello, welcome to Bill Miller. We're closing soon, and you just go, I've got $40.
sit on the ground.
And they what else you want to hear? You just tell them how much like spare change you have on you, and they just go like, all right, pull around, and they just start throwing like
Oh shit!
buckets of chicken and like old barbecue, and like the main thing was pies, tons and tons of pies.
God.
Just because it's a barbecue restaurant that they serve these desserts, and everyone eats desserts. It's just like lemon meringue pies and cherry pies and all this bullshit, and then you would just go back home to your shitty college apartment and have a feast on whatever $20 or whatever the fuck you
That's
spent.
the greatest story I've ever heard.
Yeah, it's really funny because like that shit was gonna go into trash, but capitalism creates all these weird situations where you go like, well, should someone be profiting off that? Does this throw off the whole system if someone does eat this free shit?
A pie is $10 until mystery hour, and then all of the pie is $40.
Yeah. And like this stuff I could see being like a feasible argument. Capitalism kind of reminds me of like a religion in some senses, where like I could see maybe like a couple hundred years ago where this might the threat of this throwing off the system might be a real problem, but now it's so obvious that we live in a country that has so much money that that's not the fucking problem. That if you redistributed the wealth, that would fix all of this, and we wouldn't be like, you shouldn't be eating pork on a Tuesday after 9 o'clock with a hat on or whatever,
No, the whole lens of analysis is totally fucked because like classical economics, it's all defending capitalism because it creates so much, and that's a big strong point. But now it's almost to the point of post scarcity where you can create anything very easily from anywhere, and anyone can do it. And the question is like, who gets it? And are we just wasting resources? And the obvious answers are like, yes, and everyone is dying.
Yeah, we're living in is like Katamari Damacy. There's just like that much shit laying around.
Yeah, and you roll up the cow when it gets
Is
big
that
enough.
what the game's about?
Yeah, it's about capitalism.
dude. It's like when you pull up to Krispy Kreme at
It's
the right hour, you get all donuts.
It's a PlayStation 2 game.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the book, the game.
First you start rolling up the donuts, and you're getting more and more donuts, and then it goes up, and you're getting crawlers, and then after a certain amount of crawlers, you get like the one employee, and you're like, haha, I got the employee, and then your ball's getting bigger and bigger, and you're rolling out the door, and you go up, you get a car, and then you get all the Krispy Kremes. It's a Katamari Damacy fun time.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was really excited to pitch Katamari Damacy to Anderson.
Yeah.
Let's
And
make
then,
it into a video game.
you know, your Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi's are like, we're going to get more people consumed into the Katamari Damacy ball. Women and people of color, you know.
That's who we are. We are a ball of things.
The Amazon Katamari Damacy merger is imminent.
Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know what's going to happen with those Trump boxes or whatever. But I think it's kind of a nonsense story. Whether it happens or not, it's a bad thing because the EBT card situation is fine and you can sort of get by on it, but it's really kind of red herring behind the major issue of economics that underlies the whole thing that is going to affect people that are on like food stamps or whatever. It's going to be really annoying if we have to switch this box system, but the whole thing's already fucked to begin with. They're trying to reform your access to be able to get to get access to it. It's got all this shit where like you can't get hot food. You can't get hot food with your fucking EBT card or your SNAP card.
Basic question. I feel like I missed this at the beginning. Is this a bill that's up for passing?
It's part of the
And
proposed
budget
budget.
proposal. It's in a budget proposal, yeah.
Yeah.
And someone just found it.
Yeah. It's
Just
kind of
now?
They were reading the budget proposal. It wasn't like official statements.
it's kind of a nut job story. Like the budget, I think, just sort of came out and then somebody fished through it and tried
There
to.
has to be a better system than when people read through your bill way after we voted on
there's
it.
definitely a better system, but we're not using it.
Well, that dude. So Mick Mulvaney, the dude who might be chief of staff if John Kelly leaves, who's now the OMB director, he loves to say that like he loves gutting these programs, and his excuse is like this is a hard power budget. That's what he always says. Like we need to focus on defense and like nukes and protecting
More
America.
power.
Very
Yeah.
metal.
Tim Allen.
Tool time.
So they have this weird dichotomy in like neoconservative like academia about hard power and soft power, and if you're focusing too much on soft power, like making sure your citizens can eat, then then you by definition can't focus on like protecting the country from war or whatever.
Conservatism is a lot of people getting together in a room and just going, "You hard, bro?" Because I'm hard. I've been hard. I'm talking about real shit. I'm doing budgets with real laws. You know what I'm saying? Real shit.
And then one guy's like, "Is everyone else hard?" He's like, "Don't worry about them."
They're going to be the first ones to go.
Do you want to talk about
Well, all of it is what I was saying. All of it is irrelevant because, according to Daniel Ellsberg, hero whistleblower Daniel Ellsberg, is that we're probably not going to go without a nuclear winter or fallout in the next 70 years.
hell yeah, we gonna die?
Did you guys read that interview?
Yeah.
Times interview.
I'm exactly 31 years old, so that puts me at, like, by his metric, probably gonna get nuked, probably later into my life, and I'm for it.
What's the half-life of a Jake Flores?
I don't know, man. I guess I should be dead by now. I got diverticulitis when I was 29, which is something you're supposed to get when you're like 40.
I got colitis when I was like 27, and it was like the most painful experience of my life.
What is that?
It's like a stomach virus.
I was shitting blood.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as
dude.
bad. I think that's the
Damn, dude.
advanced level
Okay.
of
The advanced
the
level.
advanced level of the stomach virus. I was only an amateur, but I ended
You
up
had
in the
a
hospital.
champion level.
I ate like bad Jimmy John's. Or
I got the
something.
gold.
It was Jimmy Jones.
I think
Was this
so.
in Minnesota?
You were bronze.
Yeah, I was in Minnesota.
Was
I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she's like, "That Jimmy John's looks bad," and I'm like, "Of course."
'Cause
My
they
heart
tried.
goes out
I
to
remember
you.
that-
I had food poisoning.
and
like
then
2
I ended
weeks
up in
ago.
the hospital, and they pumped me up with morphine because I was in so much pain.
Well, I remember when Jimmy John's in Minnesota was trying to unionize.
Yeah.
They had these, the people who were trying to organize the union had these images they would like try to spread online and stuff, and it was like two sandwiches that looked exactly the same, and one was like, this is a Jimmy John's sandwich made by a healthy worker, and this is a Jimmy John's sandwich made by a sick worker. So they would like force you to work. They would
Oh my
threaten to
God.
fire you if you like had the flu.
I ate some sick person sandwich.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
And then I got sick.
Yeah,
And
I've
I miss
been
my
sick
show.
handling food on a professional level before, and people just take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
It-
just.
You try to not look sick, but you're just like covered in ooze or whatever.
I remember-
You're just like, here you go.
Yeah. Once I was working at a movie theater and I was serving popcorn, so it was contaminable.
It's pronounced contaminable.
But I sneezed because I had a cold, and the customer was like, "Are you sick?" And I just like stared at him dead. I was just like, "No." And then I gave him the popcorn because I
I'm out
needed
here
the money.
getting this paper.
Yeah.
I need $8 by the end of the hour.
Well, so anyway, Daniel Ellsberg, who is most famous for leaking the Pentagon Papers, which revealed the U.S.'s plans for Vietnam,
Friend of the
and
pod.
how they were, I wish, how they were essentially lying about the war, and that McNamara and everybody fucking knew in '65 that they were not going to win Vietnam, but they pushed for it anyway because they just were into having a real fun time, and but what his recent book called The Doomsday Machine, which is based on his experiences working for RAND, and RAND is a think tank that was funded by the Air Force that helped develop the nuclear program in the 70s and 60s and 50s, I think. But anyway,
Just
so
the most evil thing in.
yeah, that basically has set in motion the end of the world, like inevitably. And like Ellsberg was observing all this, and he just sort of like at first he loved working at the place, and then he uncovered all this stuff, and he's like, oh well, I'm gonna lose my mind. And apparently, like one of the big takeaways was when he was copying the Pentagon Papers, he also made a copy of everything in his personal work safe, which like included all the nuclear plans and everything. And then he gave it to his brother to bury in a yard in upstate New York. And then the plans got swept away by a hurricane and flood and just got swept away into a landfill, being lost forever. And when they asked him, I was reading an interview and they asked him about it. He's like, yeah, it's probably a good thing because I would be in prison right now if I leaked all that. But the big quote, which is why I started delving into all this from the New York Times interview, is David Meir asks him, how surprised are you that there hasn't been a nuclear apocalypse yet? He says, I am surprised. On the whole, we've been incredibly lucky. It's something like a miracle, but miracles happen, I guess. Could we survive another 70 or 100 years without nuclear winter? It's unlikely, but it's not impossible. But no matter how small the likelihood is, I'm working to try to double it. So.
There's so little you can do with nuclear apocalypse mindset that it's almost not worth the energy of preparing for, in my view.
No, because, like, how much time are you really buying?
Well, I mean, like, you should do everything to avoid it, but to live like the world is about to come to an end seems... Everything else just gets thrown away. Like, it's hard to prioritize anything.
Oh, yeah, sure. And then it doesn't come to an end. And what are you going to do? It's like
Right.
these fucking religious doomsday people.
Mm-hmm.
And
What
then
I
every
want to
time
know
nothing happens.
is where are we going to hold the nuclear winter Olympics? What are those going to look like?
Russia, duh.
Probably not Korea.
At the only withstanding country, the glorious Democratic People's Republic of Korea, after winning the glorious war against the imperialists and standing atop of their mountain of virtue with all of the resources they've been waiting for in these past fraught years.
My big takeaway from this is he's been trying to get this book published since like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, it's been
And
40 years, yeah.
Yeah. And like
Looking at you, Random House.
he could have been doing the podcast circuit, a few years ago, going on like Come Town, Mark Maron,
Going
going
Rogan.
here. Yeah.
Hey, I got a leak out of my dick. Your thoughts?
He looks at Ellsberg. He's like, so who are your guys? Not Robert McNamara. Well, not him, but,
That would not be his
the
first
Washington
guy, for
Post
sure.
staff. So another big takeaway. So people have written about kind of the vague ideas that were in these nuclear plans, and he claims he has no tangible information or evidence of this, but he's retained a lot of the information over the years. And I assume he has. If you read shit like that, you're not going to forget about it. So one big takeaway from the book is this is from a Slate article. I've not read the entire book. I've read some excerpts and I've read some reviews. So another shock, the president, contrary to popular belief, was not the only person with his finger on the button. Rather, President Eisenhower had signed an order delegating authority to a small group of 4-star generals and admirals, all outside Washington, to launch nuclear weapons in case he was incapacitated. Yeah. And then I read further. Have you guys heard of the biscuit and the football?
Is
I
that
know the football. The biscuit is just what you eat while you launch the missiles.
Yeah, it's a sausage biscuit.
It's like a David Brooks book.
Yeah. The biscuit and the football.
It's a Game of Thrones episode title.
Yeah.
The biscuit and the football.
This is fucking insane to me. So the
It's
nuclear
a
football
fight between hot pie and go ahead.
is we'll get back to it.
Proud of food name character.
The nuclear football is a briefcase that was
yes.
carried around. That's generally carried around by Secret Service or somebody that follows around the president. Insider contents that the president uses to authorize a nuclear attack. And the biscuit is gold codes arranged in a column and printed on a plastic card that the president carries around, and the biscuit has been lost numerous times. Jimmy Carter left it in his coat pocket and sent it to the dry cleaners. There were like 3 months where Bill Clinton had lost the biscuit. I think Obama lost the biscuit at one point.
How would you not lose the biscuit?
Yeah, you
Why
would leave
is
it.
there a biscuit?
You leave it at
Why not just put it in the briefcase?
It's like
Oh my
some
God, that fixes
some frustrated bartender closing at night, just swiping the biscuit. Like, I'm gonna charge you 20%, motherfucker. I don't care who you are.
Oh, I hate these new chip cards.
It's just like almost setting off nuclear war.
That's the thing about the nuclear codes. You can set them off from a register at an Arby's.
Yeah. That's fucking hilarious.
I
saw
mean,
this-
it's just gonna have one of the Blue Apron lunch boxes for food stamps is gonna actually accidentally be the football.
Yeah. I saw this dumb meme because Trump is talking about having a military parade, which he's modeling after Bastille Day in France, and
My
people
man
are
loves
all-
parades.
I mean, it's dumb as fuck, and everyone's all losing their minds about it or whatever. But somebody threw this meme out that was like a quote, an Eisenhower quote, where he was like, the Ruskies are having a parade in Red Square. I don't think we should do that because as the larger superpower, it would make us look weak. It's like you're Olympic. You got a small cock if you're.
Only Nancy's have parades.
And then it was
Eisenhower.
Yeah, this like cool like picture of him with one eyebrow up like a fucking Pixar character. Like, pretty cool, huh? Like it was supposed to be like it was from one of those Facebook groups that are like being liberal, and like this
Like
is awesome.
Eisenhower.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
General Dwight Eisenhower.
And just anyone that isn't Trump that's has a different idea. It was supposed to make him like look so much more presidential and cool than him. And it's like, yeah, he was out there losing the biscuit everywhere. None of these people are our friends.
My man's out dropping his biscuit.
What if that's like the one thing Trump is competent at is holding on to the biscuit? Like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Obama lost the biscuit 3 times.
He's gonna get
biscuit
that's,
all over the
that's
place.
What he's gonna talk about. Like I bet, I don't think Bush lost it, and I bet that's something he holds on to. It's like,
Yeah.
well, those fucking idiots couldn't hang on to this.
I got the biscuit.
I've joked about this
I'm
in
the
the
biscuit
past.
muncher.
Real limp biscuits,
I was
right?
trying to think of it.
Yeah, I didn't have anything, so I'm like, I'm just gonna say it. No one said it yet.
It's just one of those days
when you don't want to wake up.
Did it all for the football. See, I've made said this as a joke before, but I am starting to genuinely.
You're just thinking about nuking the entire world. that little guitar. Wing, wing, wing. Sorry. Go ahead.
Break stuff. No, like I've joked about this, but I'm starting to think that Trump has ordered people to nuke North Korea, and because there's that group of people who can do it when the president is incapacitated. What if somewhere down the line they got a little more authority than we know about, and they've just like they're not.
Oh, they definitely have it, right?
I
Yeah.
agree 100%.
And it's not like a deep state thing, which, by the way, I'm very confused about. I do not understand whether or not it exists, because some very smart people seem to think it
It's
exists.
not really a deep state so much as a soft tissue state.
Well, it's like it's bureaucrats in the military, high-ranking officials who have influence and who are otherwise normal people, but are also like, hey, let's get some more warheads, right? It's like it's not like a conspiracy. Yeah, it's not like Metal Gear Solid.
It's been lost for hundreds of years. I won't let you use the football until it's time.
I love how it took 5 episodes for us to do a Metal Gear reference.
Could have been 6, but yeah.
It's all about the he said, she said biscuit. Yeah, so what do you guys think? You think we're going to die?
I
Huh?
fucking hope so.
Oh, I think we're gonna die
I'm
from
kinda counting
some of
on
the
it.
things.
I got parking tickets.
I would
haven't paid.
kind of like to live forever.
Yeah.
And you know, like a punished state in space, flying through like Superman when he's trapped in the crystal. You know, like Superman's enemies.
Yeah, I guess
That
would
might
be
happen
rad.
with the nuke.
Yeah.
You don't know.
No.
You're
I'm
standing
just-
next to the right super science machine.
You're hanging out with Elon Musk.
If I was talking to Crystal with Elon Musk, I feel like we could eventually really get along.
Well, you would have to, right?
If you share a crystal, you do have to. You can't just keep screaming no forever. It's only for the first while.
Imagine you're like looking at apartments in Bushwick, and it's like, oh, this is really cheap, but it is a crystal.
It flies through the streets. It just keeps flying, and you
Yeah.
live in it. It has 6 roommates.
Somehow, post like nuclear apocalypse, Bushwick is still being gentrified.
Yeah.
You know, people are just still moving into ash and fucking caves and shit.
Yeah,
It
this
costs
is
$5,000.
rubble from the Macroverse.
Man, this
Yeah.
ash used to be rubble.
This used to be a chocolate factory.
I am trying to.
And now it's a cupcake factory, so that's cool.
I'm having a hard time like envisioning a scenario where we disarm. Like, what would it take for that to happen? Because
Disarm nuclear weapons?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, there's no way it's going to happen now.
This is gonna sound crazy, but
That's
you guys
why I'm
ever
like-
smoke weed?
Weed is illegal.
Okay, but I've been to California. It's okay there, and I
okay.
was like having these thoughts. Like, I feel like this is kind of taboo and left thinking. But if you ever think about like the post-human, the cybernetically enhanced human, where you
The
start
Musk,
you
the
stop
Elon Musk?
losing like basic animal traits and develop higher consciousness, maybe that person could do those things. You know, like maybe you could disarm unilaterally if everyone was connected in a hive mind. Or something
Did you
like that.
smoke weed right now?
No, I just want to talk about this all the time.
Yeah, Elon Musk is our guy, dude.
Yeah.
He's post-human. He's advanced. He's post consciousness. Is that what it would be?
Yeah, he's watched a lot of Rick and Morty. It's the same thing.
That would be so.
Same thing, dude.
That would be so fucking funny if like that was the basis of his
Yeah.
worldview. It's like,
Well-
yeah, I've been watching this.
what if they got their fan base to like advocate for nuclear disarmament? Then it might actually happen. That's the only scenario.
Yeah,
I always think
they
like
line up for
these
it.
people
Yeah.
with incredible technological expertise
Tell 'em to
and
get the sauce.
education could still be won over politically if you just had a cool guy talk to him for long enough. Like you had somebody who was like a strong enough convincer just around an Elon Musk type. You could win over swaths of the population.
Yeah,
Somebody do that.
do it.
Fuck.
I
Okay.
got a lot of.
Do it,
I don't have a
listeners.
plan.
Solve our problem.
One of you seduce Elon Musk.
Did you see that shit? Hang on, I'm gonna have to pause while I find this. Did you see that shit about him and his wife?
Elon?
Yeah.
No.
All right, I gotta find this.
His beautiful.
Okay, this is I'm gonna have to like look up the sources of this because I just found it on Twitter and I'm just pulling it off the top of my head. But this is a quote that Elon Musk said to his wife during the first dance at their wedding. And I'm just reading from the text that they tweeted.
Are you supposed to say anything in the dance, the first dance at the wedding?
Yeah. I think you're supposed to dance, bitch, Elon, you nerd.
He said, "Dance, bitch." That's his quote.
Lyrics to "Don't Stop Believing."
He said, quote, "It's just one of those days." That's what he danced to. No, the quote is, okay, so this is from the thing. Still, there were warning signs. As we danced at our wedding reception, Elon told me, quote, "I am the alpha in this relationship."
Whoa.
I shrugged it off, just as I would later shrug off signing the postnuptial agreement. But as time went on, I learned that he was serious. He had grown up in the male-dominated culture of South Africa, and the will to compete and dominate that made him so successful in business did not magically shut off when he became home. This, and the vast economic imbalance between us, meant that in the months following our wedding, a certain dynamic began to take hold. Elon's judgment overruled mine, and he was constantly remarking on the ways he found me lacking. Quote, "I am your wife," unquote, I told him repeatedly. Quote, "Not your employee." And this is Elon Musk's response. "If you were my employee, I would fire you."
Oh my God!
Alpha.
Yeah, so
Alpha waves.
you know, like, why would you be surprised that this guy is a huge piece of shit? I a week ago during the Super
Did they
Bowl,
get divorced?
I think that they did because she said she had postnuptials.
Yeah, it's
I'm
like
gonna
a
have to look
very
up.
hateful thing to say. for
Help! I
someone who's
married a
still-
billionaire.
But like, the Twitter is full of people kind of, just taking this thing of this guy shooting a fucking car into space is like, wow, he's so cool, and Rick and Morty science, huh? What do we want? Peer-reviewed, like those fucking nerds. Like, if you actually look into these people, they're fucking bad people.
They're psychopaths.
Yeah.
Anybody with
Nerds
that
are
much
not-
power can't stay normal. It's impossible.
And nerds are like, they make cool shit, but they're broken people. Like, they're not inherently good because they're nerds. So, like, I feel like a lot of times we have these people who are like, now it's our time to get our power back. I'm like, some of them are fucking assholes because they're,
Literally 6 months ago, Elon Musk was working for Trump. Or on his advisory board or whatever.
I'm really into Elon Musk talking to his wife like she works for him, and he's just like, God damn, if you unionize with the other women.
You unionize with my other wives.
With
Do
Mel
not-
Gibson's wife.
Don't unionize with the other women, and I will get you a roller coaster. How does that sound?
yeah, because he's trying to get...
That's the next one, a roller coaster into space.
Yeah.
I'm picturing it, and I'm not seeing it, Anders. I'm not seeing a roller coaster.
It'd be cool if there's one that
How about
goes...
a real space mountain?
It'd be cool if there's one that goes to space,
I'd love to joke around with you fellas. I'm just not seeing how it could happen. It's not possible.
Takes you out, huh?
Anyway, do we have anything else before I get to my main story of the night?
You gotta get
We're
it.
going to talk Barry. A little
Oh,
Barry.
yeah, absolutely. We should get the
Little
Barry.
Our
Weiss.
girl, Barry.
Yeah.
Marion Barry and
talking
the
about-
Million Man March.
Did you see Obama's beard?
Wait,
Looks
that's
good.
real?
I thought it was real.
That's not real.
Is it
I
not
just saw
real?
that on Twitter, and I looked good.
Oh,
It
he
looked
put
hot,
himself
turned me
through the
on.
"What would you look like as a female?" app. He was so high tea that he just put a beard on
Oh
his
wow,
face.
I that looked real to me.
This is me contributing to a conservative podcast. You mean Michelle? Now I'm back. I would never say that.
Nice.
No, I think I'm going to say it's fake because he just got the portrait done yesterday. And he did not have a beard at that ceremony.
Wait, did anybody see that Sean Hannity
do
commented
the-
immediately like, "Oh, disgracing the office, the one president who looks too sexual in his portrait." Everyone was like, "Why do you think he looks sexual?"
That's like clearly projecting.
wow.
There's so many like people that hate Obama that are just like, God damn, what he's doing to the country. It's just so decadent and delicious, and
I want him to do that to me. Ugh.
What is he? He's sitting in a chair in a forest. And they're
He's
like,
a
"This is
president with
sexual."
washboard disgraces.
I'm surprised Hannity never got Me Too'd. I mean, he still could, but
He just killed those women.
he seems like if I had to pick a
Yeah.
Fox News
Like,
guy, if
when
I
you're
had to
like-
pick only one.
When you're like Ed Gein, that's not getting Me Too'd. That's getting discovered. Oh man.
Hannity killed women?
No.
Probably.
This could be real.
He's probably fought them in like kind of a jovial way.
And he's strong.
But
Yes.
Barry Weiss from the New York Times tweeted this thing that was pretty hilarious.
Immigrants.
Okay, so there was this this Olympic figure skater who was the first woman to land a triple axel in the Olympic Games in
Pyeongchang.
Pyeongchang, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting drunk. And she became a Twitter darling. All these people are tweeting about her. Somebody from The Big Bang Theory tweeted about her, and she was like, "That's my favorite show." These people are idiots. They're,
Yeah, but they're great athletes.
I mean, they're golden
Have you
retrievers.
spoken to an
know?
athlete?
Yeah, they're not focused on.
They're
it
too
makes
busy
sense.
skating.
It makes sense. But so Barry Weiss from the New York Times tweeted out this thing, and like, okay, so there's a lot of weird controversy about people praising her and calling her Japanese because she's from America, but her parents are Japanese immigrants.
Mhm.
I saw people get in trouble in both ways doing this. Like somebody was like, "This is
This sounds great.
awesome that this American person did it," and all these people were like, "American, she's from Japan, and we have to deal with this all the time. Or you just call us Americans?" And then there were a lot of other people in this Barry Weiss thing where she was like, you know, some weird quote from Hamilton that's like, "Immigrants are great."
It's immigrants. We get shit done.
Yeah. That was the quote.
Go, Ice Empress.
And these people were like, all these people responded, and they're like, "Immigrant, she's from California, and you know, her parents are immigrants, and you're being racist or whatever." Which, so I don't know. I saw both those things happen within like 10 minutes. And I thought, you know, what? Maybe we should just. Maybe Twitter shouldn't exist. Like maybe we shouldn't be like screaming at each other about this
That
because
is the baseline of everything that happens on Twitter.
there's like well-meaning shit going on there. But it was pretty funny with Barry Weiss because she was quoting Hamilton and then doubled down real hard on it. What did you say on Twitter, Raghav? You're like,
if like you ever, it just like shows how painstakingly white and out of touch the New York Times opinion section is. You know, her, Thomas Friedman, Brett Stevens.
if your defense is I'm not being racist, I was quoting Hamilton.
Oh yeah. Like that. Yeah, that was it. It's like I'm not racist. I'm referencing Hamilton. It's like it's the equivalent. Just be like I can't be, you know, a homophobe. My friend is gay. Yeah, whatever.
Which
It's just,
this is not to.
I can't be a homophobe. I was referencing Hamilton.
I can't be a homophobe. I've seen a musical where old statesmen rap.
This is kind of not to drop a hot off the presses big fat pizza pie on this podcast.
what's about to happen?
This
But,
is a Hamilton rap.
On Tuesday, the New York Times editorial board announced the hiring of Quinn Norton, technology reporter and commentator who has written in praise of a German Nazi, defended the reputation of neo-Nazi hacker Weave, and used racial and homophobic slurs on social media. And then this article on Splinter News shows a couple of the tweets. A very liberal use of the N-word in a lot of these, I guess.
liberal use of the N-word.
Yeah.
They do call it the N-word. That's the big difference.
Man, has anyone ever done a joke about that? That's like low-hanging fruit.
Liberal use of the, this is liberal.
I'll be
use
right
of the
back,
N-word,
guys.
yeah.
This podcast is a bit factory.
It's a premise podcast. It's not.
Like this person had a very conservative use of the N-word, you know, which means more.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. Also, Barry Weiss was the person who wrote that very stellar Aziz op-ed that was
Oh, boy.
titled "Aziz Ansari is guilty, period, of not being a mind reader."
Oh, right. Also racist. Just because you're brown, why should you be a telepath? I'm not Zoltar.
I was going to make up a fake thing, and that was almost funnier than
Oh man. Yeah.
Aziz Ansari is guilty of having a huge dick.
I mean, her thing basically is she's a millennial, but her audience is not millennial. She's catering to like martini drinking baby boomer liberals who are like progressive, but they're fed up with the political correctness.
She's the you forgot to give us homework correspondent.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. And
She's a darling to all of the people you hate.
and this shit. I mean, she's been doing this for. She used to be a writer for Tablet, which is has some.
You
good
don't
stuff.
write on tablets.
Right. What are you unprofessional? Number one.
I'm busy playing my apps.
She's the person who sits at the kids' table and then leaves the kids' table and just tells the parents everything we're talking about and talk shit about us.
Right. But a couple years ago, there was a march, a GLBT march in Chicago, the Chicago Dyke March, and they didn't want, the organizers did not want a Star of David flags because solidarity with the Palestinians is very important, and she came out and saying that this is anti-Semitic and all this shit. So for a while she's been a campus warrior on the Israeli side, railing against this shit, and now she's just trying to be and this goes back to the center left at this point is basically ceding the identity politics argument now.
Don't you want to be led by professional narcs?
She sounds like a real Netanyahu. That's what she sounds like.
Listen,
Nice,
I know that it's self-defined Dyke March, but when you said that, we all looked at each other like,
I was like,
is
really?
he allowed to say that?
Anders can
Bits, not right now.
Anders can say it. He's on the spectrum.
It was for dam and waterfall related prevention in conjunction
God.
with GLBT.
God damn it. I'm getting so mad. Can I have one of your beers?
Yeah, please get
Thank
in there.
you.
Okay, so the New York Times is hiring more and more Nazi-friendly people.
Right. I mean, they're basic they're not championing identity politics anymore. It was a convenient thing 2 years ago. We don't need to go into why, but now it's pretty clear they don't actually give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, this isn't working anymore. Well,
Yeah.
they still have Lindy West.
Yeah. Jezebel. Is she running for the Times now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
She does a column where she talks about being brave in the face of Twitter mentions.
Yeah.
She's the anti-Nick Mullen correspondent.
Some of those literally were about Nick Mullen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Small
just
world.
there every night she's going to bed and pointing out a window at a star and be like, I know you're there.
She just started a
You're
podcast
being
just
mean
called
to me.
Fun Town.
Nice town. It's a different kind of town where people respect each other.
I just imagine somebody titling the podcast. We're like, yeah, but Nice Town doesn't rhyme with. Don't you get it? No, I insist.
We're gonna call this Female Ejaculate Town.
Yeah.
The female orgasm is real, town.
You hear that thing she wrote years ago that was just she published it, but it was just all caps, slamming on a keyboard. I can't remember what the fuck it was about.
There was
Tyler the
a
Creator.
yeah, you're thinking of Tyler's Twitter.
I was thinking of that when that guy writes as Ghostface Killah about rap music.
I don't know that. That sounds great.
Tony
How do I-
Starks.
You never read that shit? That shit's badass. This guy used to do this
I-
once a year. Everyone thought it was Ghostface Killah, but it wasn't. It was just a really well.
Oh, is that the one
Oh,
where
wait,
he
the
lists the top
reviews?
Yeah,
soft?
yeah.
When he does
Yeah,
the
yeah.
softest guys in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
game in
That shit's
2012.
great.
Yeah, 2012 is just Drake over and over again.
One of my favorite articles of all time.
Yeah.
Who
Love
did he side
Drake.
with
We have
on
Shout
to
out to
link
Drake.
this.
I love you.
Who did he
Drake,
side
come
with
on
on
the
the Mickey Mill Drake beef?
This
Is
is
Meek
wildly
Mill?
out of
Mill.
date.
Wait, what about it?
How did
Meek
How did
Mill-
this guy side
Did you say
on that?
Meeky?
Meek Mill and
Mill.
Drake were having a beef in 2000.
15. Yes.
Yeah, that
That was a hot year.
That beef's gone bad. It's old beef.
It's a comedy.
Yeah,
podcast.
no. Meek Mill's
It's a
in jail.
Western beef.
Anyway, what were we talking about?
Let's
before?
talk.
Lindy West.
Okay.
She wrote an article, all caps thing.
It was bad.
All right.
Listen, there's one. We're getting near the end of this. There's one thing that America needs to discuss before we can get on with our evening and our day tomorrow when this podcast comes out, and that is Sammy Sosa's ever whitening face.
Not a home run.
Yeah, if anyone has
Sammy
not
Sosa.
seen what's going on with Sammy Sosa, just literally Google Sammy Sosa and this image will pop up. But basically, Sammy Sosa has been slowly whitening his skin over like the last 10 years. And this fucking great picture just popped up that he took with his wife at a wedding where he's wearing like a red cowboy hat and a white gaucho shirt with a little bolo fucking ruffled thing and like Texas style tightly tucked Wranglers.
Texas forever.
And then his wife is just in a cowboy hat and this like chola fucking weird flannel top thing and like a corset. It's fucking crazy, but the most jarring part about it is that if you look at it, he looks like one of the Mexican cops that would pull me over in San Antonio that was super white Mexican and
Wait, but there's specifically one or just a lot of them?
no, there's just a lot of these dudes and he almost looks white and he was a black person like when
It's
he
a
was
full Michael Jackson transformation.
yeah, he's doing Michael Jackson shit. When he was
I made a sound when I saw it. You were all here.
yeah. When he was playing for the Cubs and he was, competing with what's his face, McGuire for home runs, he was like he looked like he was black. He was dark skinned
He was
black.
a dark brown.
And he's apparently, quit baseball and there's this I read a couple articles about this and apparently he in the last few years, like since like 2009, the Cubs have offered him his job back on the
Now that he's white?
like predicated on the what do you call it?
The premise?
The premise that he
will remain
owned
white.
up to the performance enhancing drugs he was doing while he was playing baseball and trying to win that home run rally, right? That whole home run contest he was having between
Yeah, we're still talking about it.
And he won't talk about the performance enhancing drugs he was using, but he also won't talk about this crazy skin bleaching shit he's been doing because
He's only been talking about kale.
yeah,
It's a superfood. It has everything.
he
He looks like a Breaking Bad villain.
so he looks like
It's weird.
He does. He does look like a Breaking Bad.
in that picture he looks like a tweet that's like, "Howdy, I'm the sheriff of the DSA. I've got a little rose on my shirt."
He doesn't look like Gus. That's the one he doesn't
Yeah.
look.
But like, there's other pictures from like a year or two ago when he just looks like he's like Dracula. He's like, because his hair is also he's like straightening it and like slicking it back and shit, and he's just got this weird gaunt, fucking skin tone. No one knows what's happening with him. He doesn't appear to give a shit.
I think he saw Draco Malfoy at some point and was like, "This guy's got starry looks."
Howdy, I'm the sheriff of internalized racism.
Oh man.
I remember hearing during his home run competition that somebody had to measure his testicles as part of the investigation.
Nah, that was just for fun.
Yeah. Raghav
Somebody
had to do that.
Tell me how big my balls are.
Somebody told him that they had to measure his testicles as part of the investigation.
I can only measure them in my mouth. It's a weird system the MLB has.
He put the tape like a tape measure around his mouth like a tailor.
I know it's weird, but that totally sounds like a Michael Jackson story too.
Yeah.
I have to.
Well, this whole thing sounds like he
It's-
looks like Michael Jackson
does.
now.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Just had to do it all for the nookie.
First as tragedy, then as baseball.
Yeah.
Is this a clean enough segue where we can just talk how Dane Cook looks like shit now?
Yeah, everybody fucking
Yo, he looks like Harvey Weinstein, almost exactly.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Fucking weird.
He was
dude.
such a handsome man. What happened?
Did you ever? Something's got to come out about him because have you heard that Jim Jeffries bit that's
No.
supposedly about him? Guys, if you're at home listening, look up the Jim Jeffries bit, but it's insane. Dane Cook's probably a psychopath.
Welcome
but
to
he looks like shit.
Raghav's Comedy Gossip Corner, where we're going into
The
it.
Blind Items by Raghav Mehta. Yeah.
I remember
I just have to look up that bit.
Well, he looks like shit. What else?
I don't know. I thought you had secrets or something.
I had a friend in high school who grew a beard when he was like 14, and so everyone would tease him for being a narc. and this is like when Dane Cook was really big, and he came to play the XL Center in St. Paul, and so he's just like walking around town, and my friend saw him and was like, dude, I'm a huge fan. I'm like, I want to be a comedian one day. Like,
Super finger.
Yeah. Huge inspiration to me. And then Dane Cook went on the local radio the next day and was like, yeah, I'm just walking around downtown St. Paul, and this narc comes up to me.
Yeah, dude, that rules. You got to own your friend on public television.
Yeah. That old man made fun of a teenager. That's fucking awesome.
Man, I'm going to be sad when he goes to jail.
Yeah.
It's a lot of my childhood going away.
Yeah. This is destroying my childhood. Not Lady Ghostbusters.
No.
Lady Dane Cook. That's the next reboot.
Yeah.
Have Lady Dane Cooks. Clap, clap, clap.
Hey, I've done stand-up in New York City, and she already exists.
Yeah, those are definitely real people now that we're rolling on it. There's like kind of a lot of them.
Oh, man. There's just every different, like, combination of those
There are a world
things.
of Dane Cooks.
There's just, take a gender and a fucking old comedian and, spin both those roulette wheels. There's every combination of those things. I've seen women Dane Cooks. I've seen, like, male Ellen
Margaret Cho,
DeGeneres.
myself. That's what I'm aiming
You're a
for.
male
Yeah,
Margaret
Anders
Cho.
is a male Margaret Cho.
Yeah.
He's still harmful if swallowed.
I honestly think Margaret Cho is a female Anders Lee. Yeah.
I'm like a male Mark Maron. It's dumb. I think we should probably wrap up. We're about a little bit over time.
What the heck with Jake Flores?
Plugs, anything? When the fuck are we going to be in Minneapolis?
March 22nd, 23rd, 24th. We don't need to plug it every episode, but if you're out there, please come out.
That's literally
Take me with you.
the only thing I got to plug. Actually, no, shit. Okay, this episode's going to come out on Valentine's Day. I'm going to be, if you're listening to this on Valentine's Day, I'm going to be at the Tank in Manhattan. I'm also going to be at Union Hall this Saturday, February. Let me look it up.
Nice, dude.
Nope, it's not happening. This Saturday at Union Hall, I'm going to be doing Picture This, which is a cool show where they have an animator animate your set while you're performing. It's really
That's
cool.
cool.
Oh, that sounds rad.
It's one of my favorite
Congrats.
shows. Yep. Can't figure out what day that is. Oh, no, 17th. It's Saturday, February 17th.
You did it.
Okay.
Shut up.
Please come to my new weekly show. It's at Avenue. It's not. No. It's at the Sing Sing Karaoke Bar on Avenue A. It's called Bad News. It's a comedy show. It's news themed. We wear wigs. We do the news and there's stand up comedy. Raghav was the DJ last time. It's at 7:30 on Sunday. It's $5. It's pretty good. Also check out the Dragon Ball Z recap podcast I do. It's mostly bullshit. We had Felix Peterman on the last one, so that's like applicable to you as a man in the People's War. And that's it for my plugs. Ptak jokes on Twitter. Yeah.
I am at Anders Lee here on Twitter, Anders Lee here, and I, if you are listening to this, the day comes out, and you're free tonight, and you want to come confess your love to me for Valentine's Day, Pete's Candy Store, 10 p.m.
Anders needs a date.
Not kidding.
And
Yo, how does Amber feel with Gabe's show being during Valentine's Day?
we will find out. She's on the show, and then come check me out February 25th. I will be doing my solo show, Dummy, at Ryan's Daughter, Upper West Side, 7 p.m. as part of the Upper East Side unofficial Ed Fringe Fest. That's it.
It's going to be good. Anders is special.
Have a good night. Or
Bye.
whenever you're listening. Bye.
Good night and good luck.